Hello, and welcome to the Lighthouse Brand Builders podcast. I'm Peter Wilkin, and I'm here to help you build differentiated, enduring brands and thriving businesses. It's not really a podcast. It's more a series of strategic insights, stories, and secrets of success from a lifetime's career in advertising, brand consulting, and change management. The thread that binds them is brand-centered management, the trademark brand building process and philosophy I developed with my partners at the brand company over 20 years ago, that's since been embraced by thousands of brand professionals and some of the world's most iconic brands. The 4Ds process and brand DNAs have become well known in brand strategy circles. The focus here is practical advice you can apply straight away to your business. It gives you a glimpse inside the Lighthouse Brand Strategy Academy, our online coaching program, where we aim to democratize effective brand strategy. So come with me, take a step inside the virtual lighthouse. Welcome.
What can you tell us about the dogs may bark concept?
I love this one because I encounter it so many times, or I used to, and it's not just related to the world of advertising and selling ads. This is more like strategic concepts or positionings and key thoughts, fundamental actions or strategies to take that are there to kind of try and achieve a goal, a long-term goal or a vision. There are nearly always detractors. People who are going to look at you like you're absolutely crazy, that you're mad, that will give you very rational, thoughtful, well-researched reasons why your idea is crazy. They may just be right. But one of the things that really kills organizations, not having the courage to follow or pursue a path that they're committed to. If you're constantly distracted from being able to pursue that path with naysayers who say no or have reasons to pull you back, you never have enough energy to kind of get to your destination. You have tons of false starts that are always pulled back. There's lots of analogies in this. Who's it? Spencer's book, Who Moved My Cheese? And he talks about, the mice at the end who won't move through the maze because, even though all the cheese has run out, they're, either nervous, scared, or just don't trust the leaders who are trying to lead them to new fresh cheese, and they sit there moaning and trying to pull everybody else back. So this is that kind of thought. And if you can imagine whoever's listening to this, I'm looking at a picture here of a caravan of camels from the distance in the Sahara Desert, and you can just see them almost as tiny pinpricks walking up this huge mound of sand in the simmering heat of the Sahara. And you've got a couple of lead Pathfinder camels, and then you've got the bulk of the camels in the middle of the caravan, and then a few braying camels who are still lying on the ground and they're not moving from their dried up oasis. And they're the ones that are saying, hey, who are these guys? You're following a false prophet, Is that a consultant who's leading you? Oh my gosh, the dreaded consultants, you can't trust them. Come back. You're going to die. There is no water over there. It's just an oasis, it's a dream. And, true enough, it may be that they're miles away from that promised oasis and the refreshing new water that's there. You certainly can't see it over the horizon. It's many, many, many miles away. You need faith and confidence and a true compass to be able to kind of navigate through the sandstorms into this promise. But what happens, this is very analogous to what happens with false change or attempts to change organizations that know that they need to change, whether it's a thing like a new manufacturing technique or technology that they haven't adopted, or a different course to combat a competitive scenario where they're being beaten in a particular area, whatever it is. And they're finding it incredibly difficult to be committed to that change. And they get halfway across the desert or not even that far. Right. And the brain camels say, no, that's wrong. We need to be doing this, or don't listen to that. We'll come back over here. And this is what we refer to, when the dogs may bark, but the caravan moves on. It stems from a famous saying from Churchill, who I love, if you stop to throw a stone at every dog that barks at you, you'll never reach your destination. And as you can imagine, certainly in his early days of Parliament in World War II, he had many, many rocks and boulders thrown at him and in front of him. And a lot of it, you can say, was stubbornness, kindly interpreted as dogmatism, but that's typically what it takes. And not just for old established companies. This is for new, young startups and fresh ideas that are challenging conventional wisdom and the status quo. Don't let the brain camels at the back stop you from reaching your oasis. And where you find success when you need it is through what I call coalitions of the willing. So that middle pack of camels, you can analogous to a school of fish, they're generally well-meaning, competent individuals within your organization who will follow the leader, but whose heads can be turned very quickly if you're not careful the other way. So, they're well-intended, but you need to keep their attention and them focused in the direction that you're going in. And, let me give you a real example of that. I consulted to one of the top private schools in Canada, if not the top. I showed this picture to the head of the junior school, who's a marvelous head teacher and really held up standards. He said, Peter, this one chart or one idea, if you like, that I'm sharing with you here now, changed everything for him. And he had this picture of this caravan of camels that I gave him up on his wall. And the situation for him was that the school's culture and environment was one that was pleasant to work within. It had very high standards, but it was also kind of very softly spoken and a culture that didn't tolerate conflict very well. So it was wonderful if it was a pleasant place to work with, but it was also, unfortunately, very difficult to combat or tackle people who weren't performing or were underperforming or worse, the camels at the back, undermining the confidence of the rest of the crew. And so there were a couple of bad apples in the school that had been causing trouble for over a decade. And it really does only take a couple of rotten apples to spoil the entire barrel. When I took him through this thought and I said, Mr. Headmaster, you've tolerated this for too long. And he said, there is a cost, as you're probably well aware, of not dealing with problems, particularly these brain camels. What's happening to you? You've tried to create change 3 or 4 times in the 10 years I've known you. And the camels, what happens? The brain camels keep saying, come back. They're idiots. They don't know where they're going. And the middle ground in the caravan turn their heads and walk back again. And you end up circling back and then trying to start out again. And the same thing happens. And you've done that 2 or 3 times. And what they're really doing is depriving you of those precious resources that are going to enable you to get over that hump, over the hill and go far enough to find the oasis. You need to get rid of them. For the first time since forever, he fired these 2 brain camels and the world changed. I mean, he literally came in the next time I'd seen him. He'd said, oh my God, Peter, you were so right. Everything has changed. Suddenly all the best people I've got here are motivated. They're encouraged. People have slapped me on the back. They said, why did it take so long? But great, now we're here. And, one of the key consequences of tolerating not just bad behavior, but even mediocrity is that it puts off the best performers. The true stars think, well, what's the point in me putting my energies here and being the best I can be when there's no difference or no recognition or reward for the people that are not doing that or well behind. And so I'm all for, by the way, encouraging people. Sometimes there's a reason why you can't perform and they need to be properly, vetted and given every opportunity to succeed. But I'm assuming the listeners understand that all of that had been done in what was a very good, protective, nurturing environment. So a true story of that. The dogs may bark, but the caravan moves on.
Thank you for listening to the Lighthouse Brand Builders podcast. If you found this helpful and want to know more, please visit my website at peterwilkin.com. That's Wilkin with an E at the end. You'll find more free resources, instructional videos, and links there. If you're a CEO or a business owner looking to build your brand, or a brand strategist looking to level up your skills, check out the CBO Masterclass in the Lighthouse Brand Strategy Academy, where you'll be guided through a comprehensive, stepwise process to develop your unique brand DNA and learn the skills to become a certified Chief Brand Officer. If you have any brand or strategy related questions you'd like answered, you can ask them in the showcase notes below. I'll do my best to address them. Thank you and see you next time.